Hi Virgos. So this is the second Virgo reading for the channel. We'll start it off with a harmonica song. Virgo, Mercury, communication, mutable, Earth. Mutable Earth, Virgo. Okay, so to cross from mutable Earth, Virgo. Right now is a mutable moon, Sagittarius, mutable fire. What's going on for Virgos? So in the present energy right now is the Seven of Wands in the reverse. So the Seven of Wands can kind of be about standing up with passion for what you believe is right, even if people are talking against you. In the reverse, this can kind of mean feeling like overwhelmed by this. So maybe there's some sort of passionate energy, communication, project, something that you've been working on, and instead of feeling like you are ready to stand up against the naysayers, or you're ready to fight the battle, maybe you're feeling like a little bit overwhelmed by that journey right now. The challenge right now is the King of Swords in the upright. The King of Swords is in control of their knowledge and how they wield that knowledge. They are in control of how they express their ideas. They help other people to express their ideas. They seek and find clarity in the way that they communicate and they think. So maybe this clarity of communication, and the air is, Mercury is both Virgo and Gemini, but Gemini is the air and also, related to the swords. And so because they're both, Mercury related, Virgos are also communicating. So Mercury is just kind of like an air planet also in that communication and cognition. And so maybe the challenge right now is trying to figure out the best way to use your intellect and cognition and all of the many things that Virgos, and figuring out how to use that in the most appropriate way, especially since you're sort of feeling bogged down by some sort of other process right now. So having that search for truth, like real truth. There's there are many types of truth. There are a lot of gray zones in life, but critical epistemology is really the understanding of knowledge and understanding that there are higher truths in certain situations. So it's not true that everything is always true at all moments. That would be complete chaos. And it's just not the way that the world works, because there is a tremendous amount of order in a universe geared naturally towards entropy and chaos, but really working towards like what truth is. And so there can be a lot of ways that we communicate, a lot of ideas that we can have, but like maybe that search for like what is like kind of objectively true and how to wield that most responsibly can be seen as a challenge for you right now. In the recent past, you have the Six of Swords in the reverse, so more sword energy, communication, thinking. This is about releasing baggage. So you've been working to really kind of like get this baggage across the river. Right now it's Cancer season, so that's nice too. The rivers, the lakes, the streams, our past, our childhood, the mother side of our home love, home, and feeding our hunger. And so this is about, in the recent past, really working to, let go of this baggage. And in the near future, you have the Seven of Cups in the reverse. So Cancer energy, a lot of cups. So in the upright, this card is about having so many choices, trying to pick between a lot of things and just realizing you have a lot of options. And in the reverse, it can kind of mean, again, feeling overwhelmed by how many choices that you have, because there are so many different ways that you could go, so many different options. So you've been working to release baggage, now feeling a little bit overwhelmed by some passion project, by the naysayers, and having so many options, not necessarily knowing what to do about it in the immediate future. In your upright energy, in your above energy, in your conscious energy, what you're either consciously aware of that you're going through, or what people are seeing in you, what you're noticing about yourself, is the Queen of Swords in the reverse. So the Queen of Swords in the reverse there's many ways to interpret it, but the first one I always go to is sort of feeling like a little cold, like a cold-hearted kind of energy, like not necessarily wielding the way that you communicate, the way you express your ideas with like a grounding, nurturing energy, but more doing that in sort of a cutting way. So maybe with this King of Swords, you have the King and the Queen of Swords here, so something's going along with it. This could be like a partnership of, trying to figure out truth, the masculine being in the upright, having this be the challenge, figuring out the best way to seek truth that is, genuinely true. And this can be like your energy in the above is really like sort of feeling like you're not necessarily wielding the nurturing way that you can communicate as a Mercury sign, and the way that you are, finding your truth, and maybe needing to take some time to rethink about the way that you've been communicating or sharing your ideas, especially since maybe that King of Swords and the upright challenge is sort of to meet the partnership of the fact that this Queen of Swords, that more cold-hearted energy, cutting energy, with the way you communicate, a way to sort of balance that. So that could feel like a challenge if that's not what you're feeling in your above energy. In the subconscious energy, what you're either consciously aware of or not consciously, or you're not really wanting other people to see, or people just don't see, is that you're feeling sort of like the Empress in reverse. So the Empress is, earth, grounding, abundant, fertile, beautiful major arcana energy. And so in the reverse, and Virgo is, an earth sign, so very grounded and connected to the earth. So maybe subconsciously you're just not, for some reason, not necessarily feeling like you're sitting in that abundant energy that you are used to or that you would like to be. The advice right now is the Three of Cups in the reverse. So this can be about releasing a third-party situation of some kind. That could be like another person in a relationship. It could be about releasing some other third idea. You have two choices, and there's a third that you're not really sure if you should like not consider it anymore. But a releasing of that, or really just not feeling like celebratory. Like maybe this is not the time to be celebrating with friends. Maybe like that's the advice right now, is taking some time for yourself to figure out kind of what's going on here with the way that you communicate with some sort of a passion project, having all these choices, releasing baggage, and not necessarily knowing what to do, what exact direction to go in. It's always wonderful to know that you have people around you who love you. Virgo is the servant. They do such a beautiful job of serving others, and being loved in return for that service. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. But this can maybe be a time of maybe celebration, and getting together with a bunch of people is not really necessarily the advice for now. The energy surrounding you, interestingly, is the Virgo card in the reverse. So this can be about taking time for yourself to go on a spiritual journey, but also maybe taking like too much time. So maybe you have been, the energy surrounding you is that you're in your sort of, again, so this Empress in the reverse, this is Earth energy in the reverse, this is Virgo energy in the reverse. This can be about like taking so much time to go on a spiritual path that now you're not necessarily connected to others in the way that you used to be, or in the way that you want to be. So maybe taking like a lot of time to go on the spiritual journey alone, and maybe coming to the end of that and realizing it is good to go out and see other people, which is, it's interesting because the Three of Cups, that celebratory energy in the reverse, is your advice. So it's sort of like the reading is sort of saying like it's not necessarily a time to be out celebrating, and that's okay, but also just maybe make sure the energy surrounding you isn't like yourself reversed, or this is just maybe you feeling reversed because of all of this that's going on, or needing to give that spiritual journey energy, to yourself maybe more than to other people, because Virgo is the servant and always serving everybody else. Maybe, this is energy surrounding that it's a good, helpful to be taking care of yourself and going on a spiritual journey for your own sake, necessarily not always to be healing others. The hope and the fear here is the Star. So it's interesting how to read this card, because it's like hope or fear. The Star, so the Aquarius Star is really about fulfilling like a life purpose. It's like rebellion with humanity at its center, finding new ways, being inventive, and just finding like your genuine, like natural life's purpose. And so this could sort of be an anxiety in that, I think we're all afraid that we're not necessarily living our purpose. So it could be a fear that, this is a fear to find your purpose or to not find your purpose, because in either case, that can be stressful actually. Even, the good stressors that we have can be deemed eustress, EU stress. And so not necessarily sure how to get to this, sense of life purpose, or being nervous whether or not you get there or you don't get there. But having that be really something that you're thinking about right now, like your true purpose, and all of this is kind of going in to feed that concern that you have. And the outcome of all of this is moving towards a new opportunity. So if all of this energy were to kind of stay the same and no changes were to be made based on this reading, and if any of it resonates for you, the outcome is the Ace of Pentacles. So really approaching and moving towards a divine opportunity that has been handed to you, that you have worked to build for yourself. So there looks like there's, you've been working to release baggage, trying to figure out the best ways that you can be, that you can communicate your ideas, not necessarily feeling like you're in that abundant, fertile energy entirely, not necessarily feeling like it's time to be like part of the party, but you are working maybe that quieted energy and thinking of things is moving you very much towards this ability to receive some type of an opportunity that is being offered to you. And that's Earth energy, Virgo. There's three. So for color prism cards, Virgo gets intuition, growth, and balance. Let's see with balance being on top. Balance. This card refers to the need to look at areas in your life that may need a little balancing. For example, sometimes outside sources can demand our full attention and allow little time for ourselves. How can you allow for more balance in your life, and what do you need to do to achieve it? So maybe that's what this, not necessarily being part of the party right now, being a little bit, and you're giving it that spiritual self energy to yourself, or wondering if you're taking a little extra time to do that, like away from other people. Maybe it's just time for that. You're seeking a balance for yourself. Right now is a Sagittarius moon. It is the mutable fire. Also associated with the Temperance card, which can really kind of be balancing between cups. And right now it's Cancer season, so balancing the idea of between cups. And I think Virgos are always kind of balancing the sense of perfectionism and just letting things be as well. So this is, how can you allow more balance in your life? What do you need to do to achieve it? If other people are demanding your attention, allow, a little bit of time just for yourself, for its own sake. Growth. So Virgo, earth sign. This card speaks to the transformational qualities of nature and its ability to softly grow and change throughout time. We are constantly growing and shifting throughout our lives. True growth means that you're moving toward your ultimate truth and the highest version of yourself. Sometimes growth can be painful, and you need to prune to make way for new blossoms. Remember that this is just part of the process, and you're making your way toward your own sacred truth. So this opportunity, you're naturally working towards your own sacred truth, and there's a lot of, the King and Queen of Swords being here, maybe like a real world life relationship. I like to keep my reading centered on the individual themselves. But King and Queen of Swords, maybe balancing the masculine and feminine parts of how you experience, how you communicate truth and new ideas. And the growing earth, the changing earth, the mutable earth is Virgo. So this is all part of the process. You're always moving towards ultimate truth and the highest version of yourself. And then intuition. Intuition is an inner knowing that we all possess. Society encourages us to ignore the deep knowledge that sits within us and asks us to use intellect instead. But sometimes intellect alone can't guide you where you need to go. The more you pay attention to your intuition, the stronger it becomes. What is your intuition trying to tell you? Where is it guiding you? So this has been coming up for a lot of signs. The eye, I always see out like murals and these beautiful like sets of eyes when it's a Sagittarius moon. I feel like the Sagittarius watches and isn't necessarily always thinking. They're very knowledgeable, they're worldly, they know a lot of things, they philosophize, but I feel like Sagittarius just believes also. So intuition's been coming up for a lot of people. Cancer season is very water season oriented, and intuition and feeling things through. So where's your intuition telling you to go? And maybe that can be helpful in trying to figure out this like thinking energy the sword energy that you have here, and just like letting things flow so that you can intuit towards a version of your highest self. If I could get a couple of cards for Virgo. T cards. I got a couple of T cards for Virgo. So you get Star, guaranteed success, which is beautiful because the hope and the fear card here is literally the star. So like you have success, you already have it. Earth signs usually do have success. They know how to ground down and do the work to get where they're trying to go. So the star, guaranteed success. Whatever is going on here, you are moving towards this outcome of the Ace of Pentacles. So keep it moving. Rose, romance is in the air. So that's lovely. I think romance can come in so many forms, but there's really not many cups in this reading. But romance is in the air, and romance comes in many forms. And that flower in the garden that is growing. And August. So maybe we're about to enter August. So maybe this is the time for this cycle to be happening, moving into a new idea. But just reworking things, taking time for yourself, so that you can help yourself first for its own sake, and then you can help others. And no matter what's happening here, you have maybe this was just the hope. So the hope, I don't know how the star is really a fear. So the star is is your hope, and you are moving towards this abundance. So I would say just keep it moving. It's great. And everyone's always working on something, so it's not just keep it moving, do what you do. Can you get a roommate card for Virgo, please? Get a roommate card for Virgo, please. Thanks. Divine Mother manifests. So Earth Mother, very much tied to Virgo. Feminine sign as well. Divine Mother manifests. O you living in the world of 6 directions, accept the gloom and accept the bliss, for those seeds buried in the ground will one day grow into fruitful orchards. So a lot of growth here, and just beautiful for Virgo. We share her, this Divine Mother, you and I. We are her precious children. We are born through her love, and she shares in our losses and our gains, our tragedies and our triumphs. Her hair forms the galaxies, her thoughts become the stars. The sun is her own warmth, and her breath is felt upon this earth, causing the roar of the ocean waves. Her voice is heard in the call of the whales and the trill of the birds. She is all, nurturing life into existence. She is in my reaching for you, and she is in your acceptance of my divine hand. She is all, this great lady. Nothing lies outside of her sphere of influence and power, compassion and grace. That includes you and your dreams, great and small, my angel of love. So even though you're not necessarily feeling like you're in that divine Earth Mother energy right now, you are being wrapped by her, and you are moving still towards abundance. This oracle card comes to you via the sacred grace and mercy of the Divine Mother, who is the great manifesting expression of divinity. All that is created, all that is made manifest without exception flows from her being. This is why it is safe to trust in life, even most especially the inexplicable mystery and even the darkness that may give rise to fear and judgment within us. It is all part of her unfathomable working. So fear and judgment towards the self can very much be something with that perfectionism that Virgos deal with, and so sometimes you just need to be held and realize, like, it's okay. So we pray for light, we pray for love, we honor and live our lives with its mysteries with as much integrity as we can muster. There is a gift headed to you now. I almost thought said handed. Virgo is also the hands along with Gemini, which is interesting to me because Virgo is really kind of the GI system, which has its own nervous system, but like this gift is headed towards you. Will you receive it? That gift is one of manifestation. Something you have been working towards, growing into, loving, and dreaming for, perhaps for a very long time, is finally coming to fruition. Perhaps you have caught a sniff of the aromas from the divine kitchen and know the meal is nearly ready and it smells delicious. Cancer and Taurus also had about smells and sensing. Or perhaps you have already been a curious and naughty angel. And Virgos can actually be, pretty naughty. You've poked your head through a door to the divine dining room, a Cancer season, the home, the hunger, only to be captivated by the candlelight dancing in reflection upon gleaming silverware and the subtle sounds of crystal goblets and finest china being laid down upon an exquisite dining table. Or maybe, dearest one, you have absolutely no clue what is about to happen, with your thoughts and attention so often turned to the past or the future, working to release this baggage. You have yet to realize what is coming to life for you in this moment. Perhaps you will not gain any advance notice. You will instead run smack into the middle of a dinner party hosted in your honor, and perhaps even feel unprepared, wondering if this morning's yoga attire is suitable for such a grand occasion. You're being asked to receive this gift completely and utterly, whether you feel sufficiently worthy or not. You are one of her creations, and so is the imminent manifestation of your own heart truths. So this truth, you're working with truth, and you're moving towards this abundance. Live it, love it, receive it completely. It is yours and meant to be so. That receiving feminine energy, Virgo, the Virgin. This oracle comes with additional guidance for you, no matter whether or not things appear to be working out, they are. And you are held in the loving protection of the Divine Mother to keep you from straying from your highest path and destiny. There is work here for you to do upon this planet in your own unique way. It is the work of the Divine Mother, the work of love. So then allow her to care for you, even if you wonder what the heavenly minx is up to at times. So yeah, it seems like you're not necessarily feeling grounded in this energy, but like just support and trust in that earth, divine, feminine, mother, Virgo energy of yours, and you're moving towards abundance. So thanks for joining, Virgo, and good luck.